So Ways and Means.
Yeah.
It is Thursday, March 12th. It is 1:15. Is there anything in the miscellaneous tax bill that anyone wants to look at again with Kirby after digesting or eating lunch or whatever you do during the last hour?
I just was looking over one of my previous miscellaneous tax bills, and I was just wondering, I didn't see it anywhere. But was there something that the tax department was looking at that would the dollar threshold for filing and paying amount of state tax the same $5 million?
Yeah, it's still in there.
Fix that?
It's still there.
It is still there?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Still there. Section something.
Okay.
Around section 10, make.
Okay, no, I'm sorry, we just,
That's all right. 16.
16. 16, yeah.
Kirby.
I'm gonna tell you numbers.
Interesting.
okay. Okay,
So I didn't understand the 250 exemption entirely until you explained it, because having it both ways was helpful.
Great, thank you. I'd love to, any other questions? Yep,
Section 1, the
that's great.
tax credits for S corps.
Oh, that's the funnest one. Kirby, will you tell us about it again? I'm serious. They're not being sarcastic. Kirby, will you tell us about that again?
Yeah, so that was the Department of Tax asked for that because currently, current law, Vermont is not allowing S corps to take the same tax credits that other pass-through entities like LLCs or partnerships can take. And it goes back to according to Rebecca Senrock in her research, back in the 90s, the department lost a case against an S corp over a tax credit and came to the legislature and said, let's not let them take tax credits anymore. That was the testimony. And so we're at a point in time now where that's ancient history. We don't know why we're doing this, but for the department, it was an equity issue. S corp, partnership, LLC, they're pretty similar entities. Why is one being denied something that's allowed the others? So they just, it's just an equity thing for them.
Okay, now I remember.
Isn't that a fun one?
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
a fun one.
Okay. Little tax history, petty rivalry, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, so I do have another question, and that's on the proposal that we're gonna change the percentage of the purchase and use tax and change the percentage on the rooms and meals tax, switching things around. Is there any way, is there a 5-year limit on that, or it's just?
It's forevermore.
You can change it next year.
Yeah.
So we change it next year.
Until
And it's still like, yes, there's no end date on it.
it's forevermore, except for every biennium, right?
Indeed. So we haven't changed the other percentage for a while. So like the percentage that's in current law, we haven't changed for a long time or whatever that's. That's not something that we like fidget with all the time.
The village tax credit, what amount is that now? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 5? 4?
Under current law, it's 3. And this morning I was asked to change it. The version that you looked at this morning was going to change 3 to 5. And I was asked to change that so that the miscellaneous tax bill will change it from 3 to 4.
Okay.
So one more. Anyone else?
It's the rooms and meals tax, so it's just divided up between education and general fund now. There's not another percent that goes anywhere else. That
I will double check to be sure this.
Well,
Do the numbers that are looking, do you have it pulled up there? The thing is, the statute itself, the Mills Farmers Tax statute does not expressly say you have to look at those other funds and see what they add up to. So look at the education fund, and so it will be being changed to 29 in the miscellaneous tax bill, which leaves bad at math, but that would be one.
We can ask Chris.
I'd have to pull up the general funds. So we have 65 general funds, 29 those rooms. I can also look into.
We'll get back to you in a second.
I think it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I asked Chris that answer.
Yes.
What was
The
it?
clean water.
Oh, that's right.
I asked Chris that answer.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Do you want to vote on this right now?
No, I want to vote on it tomorrow once we have a fiscal note, but I want to know where we are before tomorrow, because tomorrow's the last day. Good to be prepared. Like the deadline.
So you said you were gonna take a straw poll in each section, basically.
Mhm. Yeah. You folks want to do that now?
Are you rolling the next two pieces in the miscellaneous tax bill,
Which the,
regional assessment districts and the non-homestead residential?
no, they're being held for the bill to come from education so that all the Act 73 work is done together.
Tax, why is the tax classification not being rolled in?
Because it's part of the Act 73. And stabilizing the, for one, it's hard to change the taxes the way that it was envisioned in Act 73 if the spending isn't stable. And I don't mean to say not growing or reducing, I just mean like steadily increasing instead of sort of stochastically changing.
Yeah, I understand.
It's a random word, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I understand. I think the issue we have is the failure to address this is exacerbating both the housing situation, but also incentivizing both school closure and turnover of homesteads to second right now. And it just seems like if it's good tax policy, it'd be good to get in process, because it's gonna take some time.
It would be, I guess, there's been, there was agreement amongst the House, the Senate, and the administration when Act 73 passed that those things would stay together, and that's why the tax department was able to move forward with all the work on property classification that they were. And so I think if we separate them, then we won't be able to continue that work. Folks want a straw poll now? Or wait until tomorrow? Yep, okay. You don't have to record all the votes. for the
I was
whole
just
section or
gonna-
Section if you really want.
I just I wasn't gonna have to report everybody's name, but I was just gonna, like we did last year, just numbers, just so
Okay,
if that's okay.
yeah, sure, yeah, no, go for it. Okay. Section, we're gonna do hands. Okay. Repeal of denial of tax credit for S corporations, section 1. Section 2, grants department authority to investigate landlord-tenant relationships. 11. PBR conducts valuation for unenrolled parcels in certain cases. Section 3 and 4. Section 5, changes calculation for payment to municipalities for the flood stuff. Section 5. 11. Section 6 adds a provision addressing cases for communication service providers for PBR. 7 clarifies chip treatment. Carol, you in on that?
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, I'm reading.
No, it's. For purpose, section 8 is the PBR 100% CLA. 11, 9 and 10 extends the health IT sunset. 11 to 14 updates the NEP to NEPA since NEP no longer exists. I respect that. You actually can't abstain, but I respect that you, do you want to vote yes or no?
No, I mean,
I understand where you're coming from, but you're,
it's a product, it is not appropriate for a personnel basis sector. Well, I agree with that too. But I'm gonna vote yes because we don't have an alternative.
okay, thank you. Carol, are you also voting yes because we don't have a?
Yes, but I totally.
I am very interested in updating things later. We're just not doing it right now. Section 15, the PTC to be calculated using 100% of the property tax liability. 11,
Just for divorced people.
or divorced people or separated people. They don't have to be, yep. Section, was that everyone?
Yes, I think unless someone says no, yeah.
I shall see if anyone says no.
Well, I looked and everyone had their hand up, so yeah. it
I
was
like
that-
voting yes, it's more powerful.
Section 16 aligns the estate tax filing threshold. Section, that was 11. Section 17 extends the down payment assistance program.
It's 10.
10, okay.
Section 18 and 19, before we do hands, precludes the Vermont participation in the federal tax credit program for contributions to scholarship granting organizations. What I want to offer for sort of further context on this is, for me, this is really like a delegation of authority issue. And we have, since the feds have not finished rulemaking on this, we have absolutely no idea what the rules will be on it or what the fiscal impact, positive or negative, could possibly be. And so I think that once the rules are developed, it would be important for this body to pick up that conversation again. But right now, we shouldn't be making decisions in the interim until we actually know what we're doing.
Right now, what, Madam Chair?
We have no idea what the federal rules are, and so we shouldn't be making decisions until we do know.
Understood.
So.
Agreed, too.
So to clarify, you're proposing to amend the language, so we'll just leave it as is.
Can we take it out of the bill?
No, because we need to,
Well,
I think we need to, if we take it out of the bill, then we're essentially opting in, and I'm saying we should opt out until we know what we're opting into.
This is that link up.
There are a lot of record
But
things, but it's the one about the,
Yeah, but we can revisit it next year once we actually, if the feds finish rules by next year, it's possible they won't. Okay,
You wanna,
So a no vote does what then?
a no vote says you don't like that section,
You know,
but says that you think that we should leave it to the administration to decide whether or not to opt in, rather than it being a legislative decision. Do you want to say anything more?
well, I'm confused as to what straw polls with,
Section 18 and 19
right? So,
Repeat questions.
is precludes Vermont participation in the federal tax credit program for contributions to scholarship granting organizations.
And you have a part where the administration a decision with consultation with.
The legislature would have to approve the administration's decision.
we know for a fact that they don't have the rules all.
Kirby said that.
Yeah. I can always explain more to you if you need, but yeah, under the federal law, the statute that was part of HR 1, that they created this, it expressly says that the Treasury Department, in other words, the IRS, has to put out rules about it. They're in the process of preparing the rules right now. If I were to guess, it would be summer, probably best guess. Then again, I guess section 8 earlier than section 16, so who knows? I'm more certain that it will be done before the end of the year though, because it's supposed to start January 1st, 2027, and the IRS will at least meet that deadline, I would think. So the things that they could decide to the rules are like, what expenses exactly can these organizations give scholarships for? Another thing that the IRS is being pressured about is to include restrictions on what states can limit. So There is a Senate bill right now, S-161, that would opt in for Vermont, but limit what the scholarships that SGOs give out can be used for. That's the kind of thing that if Vermont passes, the IRS regulations could end up contradicting. So expenses, how states can limit it. Some of the details around what the SGOs have to do in their operations, that's likely to be included. So these kinds of details are unknowns at this point. And so like later this year, like I was saying, you'll know more about what the IRS says. Just to go a little farther on the West Council side, if you don't mind, seeing how this could play out going in the years in the future. If the IRS were to put out regs that said something like states cannot limit what SGOs do, only we can. But there's not a lot in the statute actually to build on that. Then an organization could go like citizens could go and challenge that regulation and say, this is not founded based on the statute. This is the IRS just making stuff up, basically, right? And in recent years, the US Supreme Court has moved in the direction of away from giving agencies deference, like IRS, giving them deference when it comes to rulemaking. So that's one reason to believe that maybe if the IRS does go too far in this rulemaking, it could end up getting challenged, and then there would be a whole other new landscape. My point is, in the next few years of this thing, I think the landscape could very well change. It could be changed by what the IRS says about the regulations. Then it could be changed further if those regulations end up getting challenged. So that's something, that from the legal side, we would want you to be aware of. One thing I am sure about, though, looking at it, is it's the statute. The statute's very clear about whether states can opt in or not, though. So I wouldn't worry if I were in your shoes about whether you have the ability to choose to opt in. The statute is very clearly written in a way to give states that choice. It's also written clearly in a way to say that if you do nothing, the default entity, so to speak, to choose from year to year what SGOs get recognized in the state and whether the state opts in, that entity is the default under the federal law is the governor, unless a state law says otherwise. Very plain about that too. So it's written in a way to, my reading of it is very clearly written to allow states to choose a different designating entity. And of course, being the legislature, you could decide that through law. So I think those are the different pieces to keep in mind, I'd say.
And I just want to offer that if I'm chair of Ways and Means again, then I will make a full commitment to, if someone introduces a bill once the rules are finished at the federal level, to give it like a non-Friday morning real hearing.
Follow up, one thing that I thought I heard you say, the Senate is proposing some rules around it right now to support it going forward.
There's S-61 in the Senate, which is it was passed out of Senate Education. It was proposed by Senator Bongartz, and it's in Senate Finance now, and they're considering it. I was in there a few days ago. What, in a nutshell, what that bill does is allows Vermont participation, allows the governor to recognize SGOs, but the governor can only recognize SGOs that provide scholarships exclusively for certain purposes. And in that bill, it limits those scholarships to public school students or students attending an independent school that is approved to be the public school for a district. So it tries to limit that. And there's also some language in there about scholarships being provided to students from households that are quote unquote underprivileged, not my word choice. But so it's trying to limit down the scope of what the scholarships can cover beyond what the federal does.
Well, I guess my last question is, what's the conflict then? If we pass this, you're gonna have to go to the conference and work out that difference?
Yes.
I mean, if we pass this, the Senate will get it and do what they will with. If the Senate passes that, well,
Thanks, thank you.
anyone else want to say anything on 1819? Okay, straw poll on 1819. Jim, where are you on 1819? Yes, no?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay,
So is that 7 to 4? Oh, 8 to
Okay.
4? Or 8 to 3? 8 to 3.
Get
Magically, yeah, 8 to 3. Okay.
section 20 amends the definition of parcel for the grand list for mapping. That was from PBR.
Is that 11? On section.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was with.
We're on section 20.
I'm so sorry. Section 20, yeah, okay.
Okay.
I had to wash off my brain.
Section 21 to 23 as amended. That's Fish and Wildlife.
These are interpretations. I like that change.
Okay,
Yeah.
I knew it. That's 11. There's
The Brannigan sections.
It's the Brannigan change.
24 to 28 grand list submission date moved to January 1st.
Under protest.
That's the colorful commentary people are adding to these.
I gotta do something to say here.
Section 49 removes statutory language about the delinquent taxes.
Wait, 49?
49,
Oh, 49.
24 to 48 was all one section.
Oh,
sorry.
I thought you said 24 to 20.
Section 49.
49?
That's 10.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
sorry.
10. Okay. Oh,
I'm voting no.
you're right. Okay.
No, it is.
I'm a no,
You're not?
just for fun. I'm gonna vote for the bill though, don't worry. The PBR expenses coming out of the pilot special fund.
For people that think that we told you that, you know, that.
Concerned.
Yeah, that's sweet. You know,
Oh, I know that's a term, yes, yeah.
I'm gonna think that.
No, I don't think anyone's gonna think that. I think maybe no one will ever know I voted no on this. Or, yeah.
Right, the initials next to the note. Are we on section?
We're on sections 50 to 53 PBR expenses out of the pilot special fund.
I didn't
Under
know.
protest.
Okay.
So that's 9 to 2.
10-year tax study, section 54. I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, I'm in trouble. You're like, you're doing this. I don't know what that means. Is that
That means like that's over, we'll see what appropriations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100 grand.
And Jim, were you a yes or a no?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. 11 to 0.
Amend it to add mid-session commentary by Kristen on progress.
No, I'm not.
That was a. I can't remember.
Yes, ma'am.
I can't remember. It's the people who sit on that.
It's not a commission, it's just a study that JFO does.
That's, yeah, it's not the tax structure commission.
It's not.
But maybe the tax study will lead to recommendations on what a commission should do. If we haven't had a commission in a
Well, I
while.
would say what we need is on that next commission, we really have to have service providers. You know what I'm saying, like lawyers and CPAs and so forth, because that is services that we were think maybe we'll expand.
Oh, okay.
Might want to talk to outcomes.
Remember that.
I'm on section 55 now.
Uh,
You like me to stop?
No,
Okay.
no, no. Wonderful.
This section 55 is decouples for bonus depreciation for qualified production property.
11 to 0.
56 to 57, adds clarifying language to make sure Vermont apportionment uses the same modifiers when taxpayers owe taxes in multiple states and when a taxpayer only owes tax to Vermont. 58 increases the Vermont research and development tax credit from 27% to of federal credit to 75% of the federal credit. Section 59 increases the downtown village center tax credit that can be awarded annually by 1 million.
Just by two.
I know it does. That's why I corrected it in my mouth.
So you're, I know. I know. All right.
60 to 61 links Vermont's income tax code to the federal tax code for 2025.
This is where we get our AGI. Right? Our AGI figures.
Yes, sure. Is that what that does? Yes, many things. It's the parts that like, okay, where are we on hands?
A lot together, and there's something wrong. 60 to 61, Mark, are you a no, or you just, Mark,
I'm
are
sorry?
you a no or a yes on 60 to 61? It's just a link.
Yes.
There you go.
60 to 63 changes the statutory definition.
Well, this is the
This is the moving money to the transportation fund.
really complicated, but you know.
Neil,
Are you a no?
Yeah, okay.
You're gonna stick what?
I'm gonna say no on this one.
Effective dates. We're not voting on the effective dates.
That's, I'm against.
I'm not voting on the effective dates. All right, thank you very much, everyone.
It's a nice way to.
That was great. That was lovely. Okay. Let us shift gears. I wonder how many times I say that in a week. And talk about regional assessment districts. I don't think we've made any changes to the regional assessment district language since last we looked at it. We have? Then would you like to come sit in the lovely chair?
Because this is where the 757 thing went.
Oh, thank you.
Hello again, everyone. Kirby Keaton, Legislative Council. Still sick. I don't think so. I don't think so.
You know, Carolyn was mother of the year.
Did you get your name?
And Maple Queen, yes.
Oh, yeah, it's on the flag.
Some.
For you.
Who awards Mother of
Is
the
it your
Year?
kids? Did your kids?
What entity?
That's what I want to know.
National group. You have to be nominated. So my kids nominated. Nominate your mother.
Charlie's mom was a mother of the year.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, did you?
Wait, how many are given out?
How well he turned out.
Huh? Can I get my kids to nominate me for Mother of the Year?
Not fun group. I did not. I think Betty Rickson, Betty Cassavant, or Rose Rickson.
Nice.
And my kids are not gonna be the worst mom. That's a club I'll never be joining.
It's a more functional award.
Exactly.
You should have thermos. I mean, you know.
Plaque.
It's these things.
Let's talk about regional assessment topics.
No, there was no money.
Would the committee like to refresh on everything in here or look at the changes only?
Just look at changes for now.
Okay.
Very.
So there's just a few, one of which was last time I was here, there's a provision within the statute that this, once RADs, become effective, there'll be a new chapter or subchapter controlling RADs. And there's a section in there for standard guidelines, procedures, and rulemaking. And there was a provision that a lot of this language was changed, if you remember, because there's been back and forth with the tax department throughout the session. And so this is some language that the tax department wanted included that says that PVR shall establish a schedule for each regional assessment district to fully reappraise every 6 years. The director, at the director's discretion, may alter the reappraisal schedule for a regional assessment district for one or more of a regional assessment district's member municipalities. We talked about how part of the rationale for that would be during the initial setup, where you have a group of municipalities that might have previously been on different schedules, and PVR might want to waive a municipality's participation in the first year because it had recently had a reappraisal anyway, like that kind of situation. And then it says, if a municipality or a regional assessment district fails to reappraise on the schedule established by the director under this subsection, the state may withhold funds. This was changed. Before it spelled out what kinds of funds, and there was some discussion about that. And I was given the direction to just, by the committee, to just change it to just funds. We're just going to leave it at that.
Thank you.
So the state may withhold funds.
There's a section for that sort of first round of assessments about that 2 towns can join together in that first round. Is that here or further down? You know what I'm talking about? Sorry.
About joint appraisal?
That 2 or more communities can do joint.
Join together.
Yeah.
It was like the first round exemption, like
Yeah, it was that
round
first.
one they can do.
That's up here. So for the first full reappraisal conducted simultaneously by member municipalities as part of the regional assessment district, each municipality may, at its discretion, conduct a reappraisal jointly with one or more others. So the first round is optional. So maybe my example from a moment ago wasn't all that apt.
I wasn't trying to correct you. I received a email from a listing expert pointing out, I thought, a really good point that just 2 districts working jointly might not be at a scale that would be useful for statistical analysis. And we might want to frame it slightly differently to like 1/6 of the district, or 2 or more as long as they are reaching a certain parcel count or something like that.
I think the distinction here is go it alone or join with any number of others.
Because it's before we actually get to.
It's before they are required to start following the PVR schedule.
Okay, great. Letting it go, thank you.
I mean, it seems like we have such disparate current status on appraisal. Some are so woefully far behind that you wouldn't want to prevent someone from doing it just because they happen to do it.
Agreed.
We are now in the sections on appeals and hearings conducted by the regional assessment district appeals boards. Originally, we looked at language that prevented for these 3-person panels it was at first it was none of them can be representatives of the town in which the underlying property is located. And then it was changed to, well, one of them could be. And then I think the more the committee's thought about it, the more there could be situations in which most of the parcels in this RAD are from the same municipality. And so maybe for purposes of people participating in the appeals boards, it just makes sense to allow even more than one. So I was last asked to change it to no more than 2 board members shall be panelists for a hearing involving a property located in the municipality for which the members are representatives. So up to 2 out of the 3 can be from the underlying property's municipality. we have at least one more change. Almost there. Okay. So I think there's two more changes. This is a change relating to abatement for specific issues.
Let me frame this a little.
Sure.
Folks, so under current law, all the responsibility for assessment and listing sits with the municipality, right? Except for very certain circumstances. And if there's a mistake, the sort of fiscal responsibility to change it and recoup the taxes sits with the municipality. And sometimes if there's a mistake, municipalities sort of agree to pay that back to someone. And sometimes they opt to include the education tax in that, and sometimes they don't. And so this is trying to get clear on that and say, like, in the future, when the responsibility of this is going to shift, the reimbursement for that should be decided at the state level. It should be the state's dollar. I'm going to explain it with better words than that.
Yeah, maybe put it a little differently. Number one thing to know is municipalities under our system are responsible to make their education payments no matter what. Even if someone doesn't pay, like if a taxpayer doesn't pay them, doesn't matter, the town still pays the state. Second, abatement is a process that all municipalities have at their disposal where they can forgive property taxes for certain reasons that are listed in statute. The Board of Abatement for the municipality decides that. It's completely discretionary. It's not like an appeal. So in this case, it says that for one type of abatement that's done, which is the type that's due to clear or obvious error or a mistake of the lister, if abatement is granted for that reason, then the municipality or the Board of Abatement could choose to not only abate municipal taxes, in which the municipality would be responsible for, but could also abate the same proportion of education taxes, and that the state will reimburse the municipality for that abatement. And it's in situations in which basically a clear mistake was made, such as the lister mistakenly thought that a different building was on that parcel, and the property was valued much higher than it should have been, or some other mistake relating to the property valuation or some detail about the property. So the policy choice here is for the state to be responsible for those situations. Because if not, under our current system, there's not really a lot of incentive for a municipality to make that person whole, even though there's an unfairness there that they were required to pay more taxes than they should have, but the municipality doesn't want to abate because the municipality would then have to pay it, even though it's state education tax money.
There's nothing in here that says that the municipality has to provide I guess it's assuming through the definition that the municipality has already given money back to the property tax there.
Yes, because it's reimbursement. So the education tax would have had to been abated already, and then they're reimbursed by the state. And there's an approval process in this language where the Commissioner of Taxes would decide whether the requirements are met. And then it's the Agency of Education that does the forgiving, because they're the holders of the state education fund money.
Does this feel okay for folks? Okay. Question, yeah?
Yeah, so even right now, the Secretary of Education is directly responsible for
Oh, that, I had that question.
the ed
too.
fund? Or
Yeah,
the flow of money from it?
Kirby.
The education tax money goes to the Agency of Education, and the Agency of Education is like the way the statutes are constructed is, yeah, it flows through there.
But the approval of this would be the Commissioner of Taxes.
Okay,
With the rationale being the Commissioner of Taxes has staff that has expertise about property valuation and that sort of thing, and that's what would be looked into presumably, not the money flow. So AOE doesn't have as much expertise to approve these.
The abatement is granted by the local board of abatement. Is
Yes.
that right?
Mhm.
So the locals make the decision, but then the payment is contingent on the opinion of the commissioner.
The locals make the decision. The taxpayer has their tax abated, so the municipality either issues a refund or if taxes haven't been paid yet, then the taxpayers have to pay them. But nonetheless, municipality is still responsible for education tax. And still sends in the education tax payment like it's supposed to, as if the person had paid. And then this gets corrected kind of on the back end where the municipality makes a request to the tax commissioner and says, look, we abated this education tax. Can you reimburse us the $5,000, whatever? And then the tax commissioner has the ability to look into the details and say, what was this abatement about? What happened? Do we agree that this was an actual mistake? And if, let's just look at a worst case scenario, so to speak, commissioner disagrees, says that wasn't a mistake. That was something other problem that does not fall under 1535 sub 4. They could deny it and say, we're not going to have AOE reimburse you for that. Or the commissioner could accept it and say, okay, looks like a mistake of the lister was made. We'll tell AOE to issue the reimbursement for you. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I don't like it. I mean, yeah,
What don't you like about it?
I don't like it because now the commissioner can subvert a decision made by the local board of abatement. So the local board either has the responsibility or they don't have the responsibility.
I think the problem I was trying to solve here is that boards of abatement are very hesitant to abate the education side of the tax because it's the municipality. Because they're often willing to abate the municipal tax and not willing to abate the education tax. And so this gives a path of an opportunity for them to abate the education tax and get their money back. Or get their money, it's not back, but get the money for it.
That may be, in fact, I believe you, Madam Chair, because I've never known you to not tell me the truth. But I was on the board of abatement for years and I never knew that to happen in my local board.
It happens on my local board and this happened to a constituent of mine and I see Teddy's been nodding about it. And I think it happens on Mark's board of abatement as well.
We also did, tangentially related, but in the flood bill last year, we did a similar thing where we did that, refunded the education for taxes that were abated due to flooding events.
Mhm.
Part of the flood bill refunded, made the municipalities whole for that abated education fund portion. So it's the same principle.
It is, I took a lot of the language from Act 82 that you're referencing for this. It's the same, as far as the process between the tax commissioner and the AOE, it's the same process as was used for Act 82. Except that was based on different types of abatement.
Right.
This is for the clear or obvious error or mistake of a lister.
Is there a way we can do this without pulling the rug out from underneath the local board?
I would say that under our current system, municipalities don't have a way in our laws to abate education tax without basically paying it themselves instead. This gives a pretty narrow situation. It's one of very many scenarios that could come up that's problematic for that a board might want to abate under. So it's only one of those reasons that are allowed in statute for abatement is allowed. So this is, I would say this slightly opens up options for boards of abatement and for municipalities to have a choice to abate education tax and not have to pay for it themselves.
Representative Burkett?
So, all right, my question is about the language around the secretary. It says that the secretary has the authority to make reimbursements. But do they then have the authority not to make a reimbursement? I mean, I'm just trying to understand if the language really does compel them to make a reimbursement if it's approved by the commissioner.
That language is there because under current law, it's very strict about what the secretary can do with education money. So this is to provide that authority because, you know, if we left that out, you could have a very careful Secretary of Education say, well, it says this, but it nowhere does it say that that I'm allowed to. And so to be very clear that bureaucrats don't have to worry that it's allowed.
Okay. I guess my question was just if the secretary decided that they didn't want to, do they have the authority just not to, even if it's been approved by
I don't read this as
You don't
allowing
read
them
that.
the ability to deny it. The commissioner has the ability to deny it. That's pretty clear in this language.
Okay.
If told by the commissioner, then
They have to. It's pretty pro forma.
Anyone else? Okay, thanks. Cody.
so I believe this is the last one. Yes, the last addition that's new is a new section that amends the section of law relating to the duties of PBR. And it adds a duty that says to issue guidance to ensure consistent and accurate appraisal of the fair market value of properties in manufactured home parks in a limited equity cooperative, taking into consideration the limitations under 11 VSA section 1598, which are the limitations for limited equity cooperatives. This comes out of an issue that's being discussed in a different bill that's being handled by a couple of my colleagues. So I don't know the full background, but I do know that there's an interest to clear up how property valuation should be done from town to town when it comes to manufactured home parks in limited equity cooperatives.
So 757 had a really big report for PBR and we have, I think we talked about that yesterday.
Briefly, yeah.
Yeah, Ken mentioned her.
Yeah.
So in lieu of that report, it's just a provision added to statute instructing PBR to issue this guidance.
And PBR has seen this language and appreciates the change. Okay.
Yeah, and as a reminder, most of the RAD stuff is still set to be effective January 1, 2031.
All right. The guidance issuing is sooner than that, though, right? The little part we just looked at.
Yes, it's my use of X's for all of the numbers is starting to become problematic as this grows. But it's this one, so it's effective on passage. Won't be in the books yet, but PBR will know.
Thank you.
Let's switch gears to property tax classification. Yeah, switching gears. What are those bicycles with the people use with the no gears? Fixed gear? Is it a fixed gear
Fixies.
by fixie?
Those are tough shift gears in.
The gears are fixed.
Yeah,
Mhm.
unless you
Okay.
pedal backwards.
No. You have any?
Nah.
Well, Charlie's like a lot of bicycles. I have too many hills in Brattleboro for such a thing.
So for property classifications, the only thing that's changed since we discussed this last time, it's been a couple weeks, is for mixed use parcels, the topic came up with we're dividing up floor space to determine what percentage of the parcel is considered one classification and what percentage is considered a different classification. This really will come up when it comes to non-homestead, non-residential, and non-homestead residential being the two uses on a parcel. So the word finished has been included in some places to specify that when dividing up this floor space comparison, we're only looking at finished floor space. We're not looking at unfinished barns and unfinished basements and like those things would be left out of that calculation.
So the difference is under the previous language, let's say there were two buildings, one was commercial use, the second was a home and was used as a home and had an unfinished basement. The entire home plus unfinished basement would have counted as residential.
I would say under the previous language, it was ambiguous and the department would have had to make a call.
Okay,
The department asked us to make a call, so we
I'm
can.
just trying to understand.
And I mean, for your information, we're putting finished here, but that's not 100% clear either what that means.
Oh,
So there's still some ambiguity,
yes.
and there will be some, the department will still have to make some calls and educate taxpayers about this.
Understand.
Had a conversation about whether or not rental of a property for 90 consecutive days might classify it as non-homestead, non-residential, so not a second home. Just wondering if we have that in the language. I can't remember where we ended up on that.
I wasn't sure where to end up on that, and so I would love if folks want to weigh in on that. Can you go to the section about how long something has to be rented?
Long-term rent.
The one thing we did talk about last time is that if someone who owns a property isn't sure how their property will be used, they can classify it as a long-term rental and then shift it in before October. If they find out that they actually haven't been able to rent it long-term during that time. So that's one piece that's sort of in the existing language, but was implicit.
The second piece of that was there were cases, I think we're talking about traveling nurses as an example,
Yeah.
that might occupy a property for 90 consecutive days, and it clearly wasn't a second home.
So I wonder if it's like, could be 90 consecutive days or 6 months, which aren't consecutive.
Yeah.
What do people think about that?
You caught me. So we're trying to make sure that traveling nurses are considered long-term rentals.
Yes, some of them might occupy something for as many as 3 consecutive months.
I actually heard that on my campaign or my trail for town meetings. An individual who basically said they did do that for traveling nurses for 3 months.
I mean, if someone's doing something for 3 months twice, that is 6 non-consecutive months.
Yes. So it would, I don't want to sound like a policy suggestion or anything, but just so you're just aware of the decision you're making, as Chair just said, if you have a traveling nurse for 90 days, but then you have either a long-term rental for the rest of the year or another 90-day period, then this language works for that. The scenario that could change would be if there's a 90-day period and then the rest of the year short-term rentals. So, you know, and
You're gonna have to fill out an attestation, right? When they do their taxes or something.
in either case, and yeah, attest to how long it was rented.
They've been renting to for how long?
For the periods of time, I'm not sure if the attestation would require like personal knowledge of the renter or anything like that.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry. I meant like
Yeah, yeah.
seasonal employees or.
Yes, go ahead. I 100% support tax policy that tax can enforce and make sense of. I just have to say, having come out of appropriations, that I would not want to be doing tax policy to support the practice of relying on nurses, because it is bleeding the state dry.
Only about a residential situation, not necessarily where they're working. Yeah, somebody has to work.
I mean, someone could
No,
move.
I totally
Yeah,
agree.
yeah,
I'm not.
No, I hear you. Someone could be moving here for a permanent job
And
and
trying to
then,
figure out where to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
100% agree on that. I just hope
Yes.
that's not the argument that we're giving.
Somebody's working, needs a place to live.
Representative Higley.
This is another, are we moving on to another issue or?
No, I actually would love to. Did
No,
the
this-
issue get resolved while I was getting water?
Oh, yeah, we're all in.
Okay. Dude, are we, where are we all in on? What are you all in on, Representative Brannigan?
Not making a decision based on the nurses for one thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sticking to 6 months or adding the 90 days?
90 days.
Isn't that what's in print right now?
No, we have 6 months.
Okay, 6 months.
Okay.
Going around there.
Okay.
Well,
And what line is it on? It's on page. What, in line what? I'm on page 4.
On page 3, starting on line 10 is the long-term rental definition.
I mean, I want to just be sort of, I do not have a strong opinion, or I would state it. I want to be clear that this is in some ways eroding the definition of long-term rental by essentially adding something that you could call a medium-term rental, which is not something we usually talk about, but is a thing that sort of happens. And
I like the 9 days because it's so hard to get people to move here, and they come and they have a 90-day rental just to see what they might like to go to. And I just don't want to make it hard. Not that this necessarily will.
no, I mean, they're not, okay.
And I would just say on the other side, as someone whose communities are close to a hospital, what we've seen is short-term rentals around short-term employees just eroding our housing base.
So what did you want, 6 months?
I mean, I also have a feeling that we're gonna probably revisit this in a year anyway, so I can't separate too much.
Yeah, Representative Brannigan.
So I have long-term rental on page 3, line 10. Long-term rental means a dwelling for which rent is paid for the right of occupancy for a period of at least 30 days.
For periods of at least 30 days.
Yeah.
There's more.
So you could have just do days.
It's, I guess 6 months is the next piece.
Then there's B.
And
Yeah, they're
Long-term rental also means a dwelling used by the house or employer's employee for at least 6 calendar months. That's a different thing.
but saying that they have to be at least 30 days, so you couldn't, it has to be at least 6 months. And it has to be chunks at least 30 days. So you can't say it's rented for a period of 6 months, but it's little like 2-week chunks.
The 30 days is an employer and employee relationship.
I'm gonna have Kirby jump in.
Sure. Okay. So let's say you own a property and you're deciding, do I put this down as having a long-term rental, which means I could put it down as non-homestead, non-residential? Or do I have to put this down as like a second home, like non-homestead residential? And then you look at your usage. The first part says, it has to be rented out and for the right of occupancy, so like a legit rental situation, in 30-day chunks, at least 30 days. And a combined rental period in the current calendar year that totals at least 6 months. So that would be at least 6 30-day chunks, or it could be, you know, one renter for an entire 6 months. And there's a bona fide relationship, and that's just saying you can't just let your kids stay there and call it a rental. So that's the first part. But let's say you're like, oh, well, I'm actually letting my employees stay there and I'm not charging them fair market rent. Does that still count? So that's where the next part comes into. There's another way to qualify, and that's where it says long-term rental also means a dwelling used by an employer to house the employer's employees for at least 6 calendar months, which need not be consecutive in the current calendar year. As used in this section, employee means an individual who's reported for UI purposes, or a farm employee. And then if it's a farm employee, the UI requirement does not apply. So those are the 2 ways under the language you have right now to qualify. So a scenario where you have a traveling person stay there for 90 days. That doesn't get you to the 6 months. It gets you halfway there. So if you have a long-term renter for 3 more months of any other kind, you would still qualify under this definition. But if for the rest of the year, it's either vacant or short-term rentals, something like that, then the property would end up having to be attested as being non-homestead residential and pay a higher rate.
And so someone could have a 3-month rental and then 3 separate 31-day rentals and also qualify.
Right.
Yes.
I like the 6 months. I just, it's, you know, because we're already in the world of non-homestead. Yeah.
It's the intent.
Okay, I'm sensing a general sticking to the language vibe. Okay, thanks everyone. Are there other things? Yes, Representative Melissa.
My thesaurus and I have failed to come up with alternatives for non-homestead, non-residential.
I'm really glad to hear that. Thank you.
I'm not.
Maybe you can discuss it further with Jake over the summer.
Grab a creamy.
Then you should bring Bill. Okay. Are there other, what else is in here?
It was just about the finished floor space. Yeah.
Anyone else have anything else with this bill? Yeah.
Any consideration from an idea? You guys to page 4, line 19. Underlying land shall be classified proportionally based on the same percentage as the finished floor space. And this would only apply to non-homestead properties. Not homestead properties, because homestead properties, regardless of whether you had a Airbnb or whatever, would all be homestead.
Correct.
But for ease of assessing and not, you know, I just don't understand why we're making it so complicated that we have to proportionally separate out the same percentage for the land. How much additional money are we looking to gain out of that, and compared to the amount of grief and malcontent and aggravation that everybody's gonna.
I'm not able to measure the grief and malcontent. And I don't think we can get a fiscal note on that, but it's the scenarios that we talked through that got us there struck me as compelling, but it sounds like they didn't strike you as compelling. And that's, I think, the only, I don't know if I have a better answer. Does anyone else?
I was just thinking the next, if you just go up to the next item, number 3, or notwithstanding any portion, provision, subsection, the entire parcel of land surrounding the homestead shall be classified as homestead.
Right,
You
that's,
said that.
I just,
I thought that clarified it, doesn't? That's problematic.
right, I'm talking about the example of the non-homestead property, the bakery, you know, with the Airbnb up above.
I think we were talking about the horse farm. I think that's where we got. I think we spent a lot of time talking about horse farms that day. Apologies to
Again,
the horse farmers.
a pretty simple solution to aggravating proposal to separate out on non-homestead properties only, not homestead, because you're correct. Homestead, that next, number 3 clarifies that it's all gonna be under homestead, the land. But any non-homestead property, you're gonna have to proportional out anything that's.
Is the lister gonna do that or is the person gonna do it while they're declaring on the declaration form? I was assuming that it would, because it's not about the property value, it's about the property tax and the property use. And so I was imagining that was gonna be on the DUA. No. Jake, how did you imagine that was gonna happen? Hello.
Tax department. I guess the first thing, so everybody knows, is there's nothing about acreage here or like moving acres into one thing or another, so that's not what we're talking about. It's about the land value. And so the question is, suppose you have 50% bakery,
Oh, thank you.
50% Airbnb, whatever above it, what do you do about the land value? And so that would say it goes 50/50. And that would be something that the lister would move. Just like when they get homestead declaration, they can move, you know, building into non-homestead, this would be similar. You would move the building value, but you also 50% on the land value. So again, the lister decide
Okay.
based on things reported by the property owner. And, yeah, I think you're thinking of like a scenario where we all or nothing, like homesteads. That can pose some weird situations and all that things.
I don't see how. You need to explain that. I just don't see it. If you, like that bakery example. I think we're using 25% for the Airbnb, 75% for the. What would be the problem with just saying that all the land, not, like you say, not acreage, but the value of the land. Gonna be in a non-homestead, instead of part of it non-homestead residential and part of it.
Okay, well, what if you have like a $10 million waterfront Charlotte property, you know, 10,000 square foot house. Land is worth a lot of money. They could set up a little bakery outbuilding. Once it's set up, then all the land value would go to non-homestead, non-residential. To get out of that.
Do you think they're really gonna do that? I mean,
I would.
I guess
Or
my,
like a cute farm stand on the very edge of the property.
my total option, and I guess is that's why I don't like this one.
So a couple things, what we have currently for language for the grand list is that the assessing officials would have to list only the number of dwellings. That's the only requirement we actually have. So I think part of what Jake is saying is projection based off of discussions between the department and assessing officials. So if we want to be very clear about that split you're talking about, we might want to address that because I think that's not guaranteed on the ones we have, to be clear. The only responsibility added to assessing officials here is to list that number of dwellings. Had another important thing. I have to capture it with my virus rattled mind.
We're gonna switch gears on just a few.
Okay.
Saying that thing today. And Jake just had to step out and I wonder if you want to follow up with him a little bit more, Mark.
The other thing is if you don't want to deal with mixed use parcels using the proportionality, we had talked before about if there is a default, you should choose which one. So I would keep that in mind, like, would it, does it default to the higher or the lower rate, basically?
And Jake historically has recommended we default to the higher rate, and I think we were slightly uncomfortable with that, and that's why we were doing proportional, if I'm remembering the conversation from a few weeks ago.
Thank you.
Did you have something?
Oh, just a comment on the proportionality, if we divide it up the floor space in proportion. And I don't have a problem with doing the land the same way. It's a known metric. Been established. We got through that. And why complicate things further? Just go with what we got. That's my 10 cents.
It's a perform metric as in how. Because again, if there's business use in the property now, that's performed by the individual property taxpayer. They let us know. We don't do it as listed.
Big point.
I would say the language that we're looking at doesn't necessarily change that. Like, even when it comes to the new stuff.
Okay, thank you. So what I heard from all that we just went through is that Mark has a change he wants. I didn't hear any other change that anyone wants, so I'm gonna. Okay. So Mark, why don't you talk to Jake Moore and see if you can find a way that you can be comfortable? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Kirby. What happens now? Now we talk about 775, an act relating to creating tools for housing production. We don't have any changes since last time we looked at that, but people had time to do their thinking. Right? Okay. You look like you have some more to come.
I didn't know if you were ready for a motion or.
Think I'm ready for a motion?
Your
Yeah,
plan.
I think that's my plan. Does that feel like a good plan, folks?
775 is which one?
That's the one with the treasurer. Hmm?
It's under cap, right?
Okay, did you talk to Adam Rush?
Yeah.
I did, and Adam and the Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Agency, the Agency of Commerce and Community Development, there was much conversation. They all talked to each other, yes. I think they're all feeling, I don't want to speak for the agency.
So they're talking now.
Mhm.
At the same time, we're moving this.
If Adam wants to take this up in appropriations, Adam can, but this bill already made it out of another committee unanimously with the support of the administration. So Adam just caught up with it, and Adam can take it up in appropriations if he wants to. I'm sure Adam does too.
Chair, in the absence of other discussion, I would move that we,
I think Teddy wanted to do that.
I don't know what he was doing. But I would be glad if Representative Wozniak wanted to do that.
Thank you, Ranking Member Kimball. Madam Chair, I move that we find 775 favorable.
Thank you. I think we amended it.
We did.
We did. Would you like to make a new motion?
Favorable. Or
No, we have to amend it.
Madam Chair, the motion that we amend.
Representative Wozniak moves that we amend 775. It's, these two bills have, the numbers are very hard for
I
me.
know, I've been struggling.
775.
2 weeks.
Do we have a second?
Sure.
Representative Maslin seconds. Any discussion on the amendment?
Oh, that's right.
The amendment that removed the interest provision?
Back to the.
The special fund.
Yes. Any discussion? Seeing none, if the clerk can call the roll on the amendment.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
I want to be sure to properly attribute the amendment that I brought to the committee that was offered by a member of House General. It was after their discussion as a committee was over, but it was generally accepted by them. So it was not an official offering from the committee. Just want to let you know that the member clarified that yesterday. It's okay with them.
And Representative Kimball, can I just be clear that we're still talking about draft?
1.1. Yes.
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 Okay,
I think that is what Representative Wasizak moved.
yes, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just a two-part amendment.
Yes.
It's the amendment, not the whole bill.
Yeah, indeed, we're voting on the amendment.
And what?
But not the whole bill, just the amendment.
Any further discussion on the amendment? Thank you for that clarification and that clarification. The clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Brannigan,
Yes.
I'll vote yes as Representative Burkhart, Representative Higley,
Yes.
Representative Holcomb.
Yes.
Representative Kimball,
Yes.
Representative Maslin.
Yeah.
Representative Odie.
Yes.
Representative Page,
Yes.
Representative Wazazak,
Yeah.
Representative Canfield,
Yes.
and Representative Kornheiser.
Yes.
We have voted the amendment favorable 11-0.
Thank you. And the bill as amended.
Oh, yes, and no, you're good, you're good.
Please.
Please, yeah, no.
Madam Chair, I move that we find 775 as amended favorable.
Thank you. Representative Wazak moves that we find 775 as amended favorable.
Second?
Representative Kimball seconds. Is there any discussion of this? Representative Brannigan.
Madam Chair, in order
Yes.
to be clear with my fellow committee members and with you, I want to make sure everyone around the table knows that this morning I spoke with the Commissioner of Finance. He told me clearly that he did not know about this and did not approve of it, and that he's gonna go talk to the governor and get back to me. He's not gotten back to me yet. I'm happy to vote now if that's what you'd like to do, but I just want everybody to know why I'm going against it.
Thanks.
Well, do we have to vote right now? Should we not
We,
check with the?
the vote is open.
I should say that the bill has a long way to go before it becomes law.
Does indeed.
I'm a little frustrated with the clear vibes we're getting out of the governor's office. I'd like to know one way or another.
I appreciate your use of the word vibes so much, and I am also frustrated with Commissioner Gresham's slow uptake on his work. And the administration has worked very closely on this bill, to my understanding. But I don't know. So, but I don't know.
Commissioner of Finance said he didn't know
Yes.
about it.
And I also know this was a unanimous vote out of the House General Committee.
Done discussing?
I don't know. How are we? Does anyone else have anything to say? Okay, seeing no further discussion, if the clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Brannigan,
No.
Representative Burkhart, that's me. I will vote yes. Representative Higley,
No.
Representative Holcomb,
Yes.
Representative Kimball,
Yes.
Representative Maslin,
Yep.
Representative Odie,
Yes.
Representative Page,
Yes.
Representative Wazazak,
Yes.
Representative Canfield,
Yes.
Representative Kornheiser.
Yes.
We have voted the bill favorable as amended 9-0.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Oh gosh, now we're ahead of schedule. Sorry, Representative Brannigan. Okay, so we have 7:57 next, and we need. Or no, we don't. I forgot, we don't. We're not ahead of schedule. Ah, great. We need John. John's here.
Oh,
Fine. We like you.
glad to be here.
You posted under Cameron, though. I thought Cameron.
Oh,
I can switch it later.
blatant disrespect.
Wait, which one are we doing now?
757, which is different than 775.
577.
No.
Sorry.
Charlie's doing that
I
one.
don't like it.
But it comes up as not present, Charlie.
Right back.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
I think the link might be done.
Needs refresh.
Is it-
It's under Cameron.
Okay, team. John.
Hello.
Hello.
John Gray, Office of Legislative Counsel. We are switching from 775 to 757.
I would like to officially lodge a complaint on the bill numbering.
I agree. I felt the same way when these came out. I will talk to someone about that. If there's anything that I can accomplish this session. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna screen share. So I can stop talking in this way.
Go ahead.
So the only sections that are changed in this amendment, you saw a draft 1.1 from Cameron that he previously walked through. All of the changes for this draft 2.2 are in my sections. And what you'll recall from the previous draft is that we had tax provisions that exempted all mobile home sales from the sales and use tax and subjected them to the property transfer tax, regardless of their status as real or personal property. This proposed amendment contains a different way of achieving parity between tax treatment for real property and personal property. And the way that it attempts to do this is by creating an effective tax rate under the sales and use tax that is comparable to what you would get under the property transfer tax. So that's the basic, easy way to understand it.
This is how we're sort of threading the needle of both sort of good tax policy and the tax department's real concerns about how they could actually develop forms even for what the past legislation was.
And if the goal is to create consistency, which I think both this committee and House General had talked about, this is a step in that direction. So going to be pretty straightforward. I think explaining the concept says the whole thing. There is something I do want to flag for you guys. But I'm on page 10. And as you know, we list out statutory purposes for our sales and use tax exemptions. And so there are two pieces here. One is updating the exemption for sales of mobile homes and modular housing. Previously, or under existing law, there's a 40% exemption. And that's included, as you can see in the struck-through language, is it's providing an exemption for the estimated portion of the cost attributable to labor. Now, because you're just trying to achieve same treatment across real and personal property, I think you can just restrict this statutory purpose to, we want mobile homes to be treated like traditional residential construction. So that's what you see in subsection S. There's another piece here I didn't note in my intro, but under the existing property transfer tax, I think this passed either last year or the year before, there's a wholesale exemption for new energy efficient mobile homes to achieve the same treatment for mobile homes, whether real or personal property, extend that same exemption under the sales and use tax to those. So that's what you're seeing here. The actual updates for the exemption are in section 6. Substantive change starts on page 11. As I just noted, the existing sales and use tax exemption for mobile homes is at 40%, and this proposes to change that to 90%. I did want to flag here, this is based on figures that we received from JFO. There's sort of a band of figures that you could fall within, like, 88 to 92%, something like that. Because the effective tax rate varies yearly, and depending on whether or not you include the clean water surcharge, you could end up with different figures here. This is a nice, clean, whole number, 90%, that's well within that band of achieving a comparable effective tax rate. So just wanting to note, you could potentially choose a slightly different figure here, but this is a clean figure that is within the range that JFO had provided to speak to this. And it's intended to achieve that effective tax rate for mobile homes that are treated as real property. The second piece is what we just talked about. This is 100%. This will be a wholesale exemption for new mobile homes. And I can walk through the language here, but just know that this draws directly from the language that is used for the exemption from the property transfer tax. So it's new mobile homes that bear a label evidencing at a minimum greater energy efficiency under the Energy Star program, or mobile homes that are certified as zero energy ready homes by the U.S. Department of Energy. So you get a full scale exemption for those, and you get this 90% exemption to create parity between property transfer tax and the sales and use tax here. So hopefully that all makes sense. It's just trying to achieve
the same economic effects for these kinds of homes without disrupting the underlying way in which the taxes are administered, without disturbing the relationship between property law and tax policy. Otherwise, the bill remains as is. I will note the effective dates section, page 12. Most of the act would take effect on July 1, 2026, as you've seen in the first version. But the sections 5 and 6 that I just walked through would take effect on January 1, 2027 to allow time for the tax department to implement or to set up. Folks have
Percent was like,
Sorry, Jen, can you just re-explain the,
the 90%.
in relation to the energy efficient?
Oh, sure. So the energy efficient one is if you do have a new mobile home of this form, you're entirely exempt from the sales and use tax.
Entirely.
In the same way that,
Not energy efficient, it's 9.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
that's something we did a few years ago.
Yes, yeah, right, yeah.
Yep, just trying to achieve the exact same treatment.
We don't have a fiscal note. We haven't looked at the fiscal note on this yet, and I will be here in a minute.
Okay.
Any other questions about the language? If folks need anything else before Ted arrives, let me look at the fiscal note. Thank you very much, John. We are going to take a 15-minute break.
Thank you, guys.
Please don't go far.
Genius.
15, but like actually